Hi, welcome back. Part 2 of reading the excerpts. Ever hear this saying? No good deed goes unpunished. For all the good you've done in the past, there comes along a lifetime or two demanding major sacrifice. And if it turns out that you are one of the many angels meant to guide younger souls, as well rising to the occasion and part of us, collectively speaking, then it was probably a rough life that whipped you back into top form rather quickly, having been down the roads of crucial development other times before. Thing is, you first have to suffer the same as most anybody else before you can bring the mustard. You still care. Go from there, and wonderful things will happen. Keep the faith. Anyhow, the best I can tell any of you troubled souls for now is this. God will climb into the ditch with you and speak to you in your own language, lest there be any distance furthering God from you. When it comes to having been somewhat uncertain of yourself, uncertain of God's participation in your life, including your uncertainties regarding humankind's future, I pray I shed light, and I pray you secure greater confidence in yourself and greater faith in God's ways. And I pray your evolving understanding and improved perspective lends greater belief in humankind's capabilities, impelling needed actions. As you can clearly read, I'm rather confident that God is ushering us through the fail and learn process as fast as humanly possible. It all wraps back and around to having to first learn how to do things, how not to do things, before discovering and determining how to do things best. The genius and simplification of the learning process, not to be denied on any account. Hands-on experience. For what it's worth, some things simply cannot be taught. That's why God allows for us to fall flat on our face. I know. It's tough love. But it's the raw, real deal. Things are bound to happen, and much comes from that as we reach for greater meaning and even greater strength. Why I wrote earlier about people needing to stop feeling sorry for themselves. It's simply the quickest route to no longer pinning yourself down and depriving your soul of its infinite potential. Life's mystery, revealing just a glimpse as you develop a rhythm with nature's flow, the stumbles transforming into a graceful dance. Life experience, the reward of life itself. If you are grateful for what you do have, it's harder to become angry about what you don't have. As the thesis binds and over the hump we go. At the end of the day, you cannot be both frustrated and grateful at the same time. Hey, get this. Ulterior motives drive people to ignore common sense and their conscience, compromising their value system. People also get so caught up in pursuing agendas at any cost, they end up losing their sense of self-accountability. In all, it'd be incredibly important that the schools not be so quick to suspend kids. Look at what happens most notably after a second suspension. It is way better to improve on communication skills and restructure methods than it is to punish or hand off complicated children to authorities. Zero tolerance should only apply to violent crimes, and even then, greater care must be taken so that troubled children are not allowed to fall through the cracks so easily, becoming lifelong participants in the judicial system. Money talks. This chapter is all about preserving the integrity of the species, enabling long-term survival with minimal bloodshed. We are going to create a funding entity of infinite proportions, enabling the human race, us, to rise above our quagmire, as this species soars to great heights throughout the many millennia to come. This current day reality of spy versus spy, make a buck, save a buck, and all the planned obsolescence child's play will surely come to pass, all in due time. Our marketplace history has been historically fueled by strictly monetary reasoning lacking the expected moral consideration respecting the nature of integrity and dignity, respect that be required to truly make the desired difference. our charitable needs, education, healthcare, public services, assistance programs, and maintaining infrastructures, and even energy costs, for example, need not be dependent on the goodness of heart or effective budgeting, both now in extreme limitation. Just to further clarify, lest there be any misunderstanding regarding the grand essential purpose of this book, logically speaking, there's no getting around the money until money no longer dictates the beginning of strategy. Chapter titled Start Writing. It's imperative to first break out of a debilitating comfort zone. With that said, if you just started writing or are about to begin, whether you be a leader writing your own personal plea and declaration announcing a desire to unite under new terms, or a citizen feeling impelled to share your story as you put in your 2 cents, this chapter is for you. And I pray to God I do you justice. Myself still mildly green with the craft. Basically, I put forth the effort with this chapter to inspire procrastinators with getting on the ball and to start writing. Here we go. In my brain, let's back up a little bit. Remember Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter? Got assassinated by a stingray? In my brain, I asked Steve, what the hell, man? Guess what I hear his voice say with his famous accent? Steve's voice in my mind actually explained to me that it was an honorable death. Went a little something like this. Amazing! What a great and honorable rare death to have been taken out with such skill and precision, the way the raised barb skillfully targeted my beating heart, delivering a perfect death strike, a real death blow. No time to react at all. Incredibly evolved skill, and what a great way to meet my maker in such high-class fashion, coming from all that nature has to offer. It's a little comedy chapter. We're getting into the close. Remember, we cannot change our past, and it's not about what could have been, but rather instead, it's now all about how it can become. You do not need a church or priest to exonerate you of any sins whatsoever. Life's decisions and the choices we all make are always between us and God. And you need not any priest to connect you with God, because the connection, brotherhood, has always been there before man corrupted such for selfish gain, power, control, and material wealth. With everything said, citizens of most all countries care not to war with other citizens of the world. Correct me if I'm wrong. We citizens of this earth would prefer to interact and prosper as a united family. Correct me if I'm wrong. It has been the way of the grand mastery of manipulation constantly bringing war upon us as they divide us. Correct me if I'm wrong. And now, as a result of this insane process, you would feel comfortable according to the order in which the manipulators would continue to decide things? Correct me if I'm wrong. Historic maneuvering of the elite families were never critical of objective while gaining control, simply because, as be evident, actions based on past initiative predictably produced results and outcomes securing objective at any cost. In other words, they would not allow for any other sort of thinking to tamper with their continued success investment, which is why through the world of business and politics they did everything in their power to create influence with the power of money and positioning, solidifying control. And even if this was in some way a grand effort to control the board and eventually end war among nations as a result, there'd be no justification for the sort of actions compromising the very fabric of moral and ethical reasoning. Meaning, there is absolutely no justification for instigating war after war after war as a method for eventually ending war, especially when pockets are getting lined in the unholy process of it all. Case in point. As the world teaches us every day, without mutual respect, conflict arises and persists. And as a citizen of Earth and a member of the human family, where do you now stand? What are you going to do about this? Again, if not for justification establishing relevance of issue, there would be no need for consideration. Meaning, if it were not for the reasons to consider, there would be no argument demanding result. That is, of course, if you were to be okay with everything. It's no longer a question demanding consideration. It's simply a matter of taking action in an effort to produce resolve. Resolve enabling a more reasonable and acceptable continuation of humankind's adventure, as it should so be, stemming from pure love and honest ingenuity. We're going to get to the truth. We're going to have plenty of money, and we're going to stop endangering ourselves. Our underlying problems have been haunting us for some time. We're going to get to the bottom of it all. Come on, everybody. Let us not fail ourselves or this incredibly wonderful sanctuary granted to us to do with it as we please. Now that concludes what I wanted to read. Be forewarned, grammar cops. I couldn't afford a professional editing. This book is a do-it-yourselfer. Formatting bunched a few sentences together and all will get corrected in a second print edition. We could all really benefit from everybody helping to get word out. I know I appreciate the help. Not real big on asking favors or borrowing money, but for added incentive, if any of you I now know can soon honestly tell me you have exhausted yourself telling people you know and you don't know, as a man of my word, I'll grant you a sizable loan for whatever your needs, so long as you give me your word you'll do your best to pay it forward. Soon after Stink Book takes over the #1 spot on the bestsellers list. Stink Book is print on demand at the publisher minimal set price of $21.95. E-copies listed at $6.99. Don't pay a penny more anywhere. And my YouTube videos should have no commercials, not trying to profit from marketing pitch. Publisher author webpage, booklocker.com/9976. I recommend downloading e-copies at that location. When I started writing, I was angry about a lot of things until I started doing something about it. Lacked maturation as well, and I'm still working on that. For all of us, it's inspiring and heartwarming to witness all the kind and loving resilience on full display, regardless of being failed. I'll leave you with this for now. Judgment Day isn't about judging people. It's about judging the actions of people, staging our world for profitable gain at the expense of innocent life. Thanks for taking the time. Much appreciated.